Hi everybody, Jane here, and today I'm going to be talking to you about my book, A Family for Nicholas. A Family for Nicholas was actually the fourth novel I ever wrote, and it was the first one that I really wanted to try to publish traditionally, and I didn't end up publishing it traditionally, but I did shop it around a good bit. And it was the first one that I really tried to write to market. And of my books that I've written under the name Jane, this is the one that sells the best. My main character, Nicholas, he is a very wealthy man, or at least he comes from a wealthy family. And his brother gets this girl pregnant, and then he can't marry her because he's already married. So Nicholas is asked to step up to the plate and is offered basically a lot of money by his family. They offer to fund his business, which he's not been able to do for himself because he isn't himself wealthy, he's just from a really wealthy family. So he agrees to marry Moira, the girl. And, at first it's not a marriage of love and nobody thinks it will be. But slowly, he kind of reveals to her some of the complications he's had with his brother in the past and the difficulties of his family life. And she starts to fall in love with him and him in love with her. She's a really good character as far as a good person. She's not money hungry like some of the other girls he's dated. And, even though obviously her relationship with his brother was a mistake, he really tries to understand why that happened and the complexities of who she is. So, the way that book actually came about is kind of funny. Me and one of my really good friends, her name is Debbie, we decided to co-write a story, or a couple stories. And we didn't actually get far. We didn't actually complete a single one. But we had started a historical romance about a girl who was had been with an aristocratic man, and who he was the heir, but he was already married. And so she ended up having to marry his brother, who was not going to be a landowner, wasn't going to inherit the title, anything like that. So it was really one of those things where we had a really cool story set in the Victorian era, but it didn't pan out. We didn't get any further, I don't think, than the wedding, which of course was in the first like 3 chapters of the book, and then we called it quits. But when I was looking for the next book I wanted to write after finishing Wedding the Widow, I asked her, I'm like, hey, do you mind if I take this idea that we had and kind of go with it and mess with it? So I put it in a more modern context. Billionaires and millionaires were really big at the time, and I think they still are. And so I kind of made him really rich, and I took the story that we had. I believe in our aristocrat book, they were just regular brothers, but in A Family for Nicholas, they are twins. I'm a mother of twins, and the twin dynamic is really interesting to me. So I added that as kind of an extra bit of drama to it of these two competing twins, because everybody thinks identical twins are friends and get along really well. Well, my daughters are actually their grandmother was an identical twin. My daughters are fraternal twins, but their grandmother was an identical twin, and her identical twin really had a lot of conflict in their relationship. And so I decided that that would be more interesting to make a character who had a twin but had a conflicted relationship, because we don't see that, I think, as much as we'd like to. We always see the twins being like really super close, and sometimes they're opposites, but generally they're opposites but who are, love each other and are super close. And Nicholas and his brother just aren't. What did I learn from this book? Well, a few things. Number one, writing to market's a good thing. Number two, I learned from reading the reviews from readers that I hadn't done well at making likable characters. And most of that was intentional. The only characters I intended to be likable actually were Nicholas, Moira, and Nicholas's father. Nicholas's mom and Nicholas's brother were meant to be awful characters. But I think readers really felt like I didn't do a good job at bringing out that Moira was supposed to be kind of, heroic's not the right word, but a strong woman. They didn't see her as a strong woman. They saw her as somebody who was like, oh, you're threatening to take my baby. I will do what you say. And like, I needed that obviously to happen for a plot point, and that worked really good in our Victorian story, but it probably didn't translate as well into our modern romance as I would have liked. Either that or I wasn't at the skill level at that time to really do it justice. And Nicholas, I think he came off as kind of a jerk, and it took a while for that to change. And I liked it. I liked him. I liked Moira, but I definitely the reviews were kind of mixed on that. A lot of people didn't think Nicholas was a very good person either. Um, Overall, this is one of the ones that I really enjoyed writing, and I'm really proud of. I really love my Family for Nicholas story, and I think it was a good romance. I definitely would change a few things if I were going to rewrite it now in hindsight, but it was my fourth book. So it's important as a writer to learn from the things you do wrong, and also to understand what the tropes are and how you're using them, how to use them properly. Because I was kind of going for a rich alpha male, and I think I didn't quite pull that off. So, anyway, that was my fourth book. And like I said, it did not get traditionally published, but of the ones that I have that I've self-published, it is the one so far that has sold the best over its lifetime. So I'm really proud of it, and it's been quite an adventure. And I think that's the only contemporary romance. That's the only contemporary romance I have out right now. That's going to be changing next year, sometime in 2019. I've got the first draft of a new contemporary series. So I'm really excited about that, but I'm definitely going to be changing some stuff up from learning from this one. But the important message from this video about this particular book is, it's okay if your book isn't perfect. It's okay if some readers it doesn't jive with. You'll learn, and you'll learn from what you did wrong to do better. I do think this book is worth reading, though, so if my summary sounds interesting, feel free to pick it up. It really is, I think, a lot of fun as a book, even if maybe it's a little bit flawed for Nicholas not being as likable as he could be, and Moira being not maybe as strong as a lot of readers would have liked. I tend to write a little bit weaker females because of how I was raised. Women that I was raised around are a lot more like, yes ma'am, no ma'am, that kind of thing. And I don't just mean polite, but we're just pretty chill about things. And Moira wants to keep her baby, so she's like, okay, I'm not gonna do a lot of fighting. I'm just gonna go with the, I'm not gonna fight. I'm not gonna risk losing my child. I'll just marry your son, whatever. So I like it. I wrote it. Pick it up if you think it would fit with what you read. All right, guys, this is Jane. Thanks so much. Bye.